Hello, Mr. Torno. I'm here with another Tinker Lab tutorial, and today we're going to be making this tether plane. Okay, so this one's definitely going to be adult supervision. So go find your adult before you even try this one. Alright, we're over here at the tool bench. What you're going to need for this one is a plastic bottle. Any plastic bottle will work. We're going to need some sort of motor with a propeller. Now this one I happen to got out of a old drone. This is a drone that busted. So I went ahead and tore it apart and found the controller board is bad, but these motors are still perfectly fine in here. So I pulled this motor out, and we're going to use one of the motors out of this. Always good to not just throw things away. I like reusing things when possible. Alright, so we're going to take that. We're going to need a 9-volt battery to power the motor. A wire nut always helps, or you're going to need some black tape. Zip tie, a drill, the drill bit, and a glue gun. And I'm also going to use calipers. You don't need to use calipers. You can just judge the size, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Okay. So what you're going to take this bottle. That's going to be the body of your plane right here. So we need to figure out a way to install this motor into this plastic lid right here. So it's going to go in right in the middle there, and that's going to be the front prop of the plane. So that's where I wanted to use the calipers here. I want to see what the diameter of this motor is. So I'm going to take my calipers, and it's going to be about an 8.5 millimeters, if you can see that. Okay. So I wanted to find a drill slightly smaller than that. That way the motor fits in tight. So we're going to find a drill bit. It's right there. That one does the trick for me. This one's about an 8 millimeter diameter. Okay, perfect. It's just a 0.5 millimeter. Okay, so this is where you're going to need adult supervision to help you with the drill. We're going to drill a hole right in the middle of this lid. Okay? So I'm going to be careful to line this up just right. And just give it a couple tweaks. And it goes pretty fast. It's not hard to cut through this plastic. And kind of shave that off level like that. Okay. We need one more thing. I'm going to need a knife or a sharp utensil because we got to cut some slits into here just to give that a little groove to grip onto that motor. So I'm just going to use a pocket knife for this. Okay, be very careful. I'm just going to cut a slit here, a slit here, a slit here. Just four of them. Not too far. Just a little bit like that. If you can see it, almost just the width of the blade. Something like that. Okay, let's see if this fits. I'm going to feed these wires down in to there. Give that a firm push. Perfect. Just wanting to twist a little bit. There we go. We can kind of move that around a little bit to get that just right. Alright, if you need to trim a little more to get your propeller in there straight, go ahead and do that until it fits. You want it to be fitting pretty center. Something like that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and take this lid off. And we now want to take, so this battery is going to sit on top of here. And we're going to need to plug the wires in. So we're going to run the wires down through the bottle. And we want to have enough wire to reach. So we're going to put the hole right about there so the wires can feed in up through that. Okay, so we're going to find, where do we want the top? Let's just say this is going to be the top. We're going to drill another hole. Something like that. Try to get that leveled off a little bit. There we go. No any sharp edges there. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and feed that wire down through. Hopefully I left enough to reach back to the top here a little bit. Yeah, barely, but I got enough. Okay, so we're going to attach the wires red to red, black to black. Pretty simple. And for this, I'm just going to twist them together. Take the two ends. Need a little more on that one. Go. Just get a twist on there good and tight so it stays. And then we're going to do the same one to the black. Black to black here. Now this one I'm actually going to put a wire nut on because I don't want these two wires to touch, or otherwise it's going to short out. I'm just going to twist this wire nut on. Something like that. Okay, we'll just go ahead and feed that in and screw the lid back on here. Let's give it a quick test, make sure we got it fired up. Yep. We got power. Alright. Alright. Well, now we need some sort of wings on here. So I just took a scrap box and just cut the flaps off it here. That was good enough for a wing. I wanted to make kind of a square, and I thought I'd give it like sort of an airplane shape with a tapered edge like that. So we're going to go ahead, let's keep the wires on top. We'll go ahead and glue these wings on close to the back here. So I'm just going to got my hot glue gun plugged in and heat it up. I'm just going to run a bead of glue down the edge of this cardboard right now. And stick it right on there like that. I'm going to have to hold it for a second to set up. I'm going to go ahead and run another bead of glue right down there. This is just kind of like welding. We're using cardboard and glue. Hold those wings on like that until they dry. hardest part sometimes is being patient and waiting for the glue to dry. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. It's gonna use that edge right there. Right here. Okay, so we're gonna glue this edge. And we're gonna put it as level as we can. I'm trying to get that level dried out. Something like that. Okay. Now we're going to need a tail fin, a tail rudder. The first time I tried this, I didn't have a tail rudder, and what happened is the motor spun up and the whole thing just started twisting around, kind of went into a flat spin.
Mayday, Mav's in trouble. He's in a flat spin. He's heading out to sea.
So I actually had some of the other students help me out with this one. We came up with, hey, it needs a tail rudder. So the 5th grade students helped me make this tail rudder. And you can experiment around the shape. You may have to play around with your size of this a little bit and the wing shapes a little bit if you find that starts going just around and around like that. Alright, so we're going to put the tail rudder on now. This is a little hard. The bottom of my bottle here is a little indented, so it's kind of hard to get a flat surface to glue on there. Alright, just hold that on like that. Okay, something like that. You may need to come back and glue these wings a little stiffer, but that should do the trick right there. Alright, now we need something to hold a string, because we're going to tie a string up to the ceiling down to this. So we're actually going to use this little zip tie right here to make a loop for the string to go into. So for that, we're going to need 2 holes here to run this zip tie through. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here. We kind of want that to be right in the middle of this bottle, so the weight distribution's even. There you go. Just going to go off to the side of that a little bit. Alright, here's the real tricky part, because you got to feed this through and come back up. So I'm actually going to bend the end of that zip tie up just a little bit, like that. So when I feed it through, I can get it to come up through this little hole here. So zwink, like that. Okay, so we're just going to tie that off to a loop, like that, and then we can trim that off with a pair of scissors or something. Okay, so our string will tie to this, and then your string will go up to your ceiling, and what kind of ceiling you got is going to dictate how you're going to attach that string to the ceiling. But your ceiling is going to come down here, and you're just going to tie the string on there so that your plane hangs like this. Okay, so the last thing to do is put the battery on. And playing around with this a little bit, it seemed to work best if the battery was right next to the loop, so that the weight kind of nosed down a little bit. If you hold it, you kind of wanted the weight so the plane was down a little bit. Alright, so I'm just going to take that 9-volt battery. I don't want to get this battery too hot, but a little glue on it's going to be fine. I'm just going to put a little dab of glue on there. And line, make sure the terminals are going to reach. And I'm just going to stick the battery on like that. Okay. Alright, And that's basically all the construction there is. We got our battery, we got our wings, we got a spot to tie our string to, and we've got our motor in there. Hopefully you can do a little better job of putting the motor in than I did on this one. All that's left to do is, let's see if it powers up. Yes, indeed, and I can feel the air blowing off that right now. Alright, so all we got to do now is tie it to the ceiling, and then you've got your own homemade tethered airplane. Alright, that's all for today. Have a good day.